I don't know, it's weird, like when I'm with you now, it doesn't feel awkward because it's like your philosophy and everything, it just feels like I've known you for a while, and like just listening to your voice when I listen, like I listen to your, like a lot of your videos and stuff like that, so it's like, I don't know, it's like a comforting voice like that I've already listened to, and it's like listening to you on my headphones right now.
Hey. I don't know, I appreciate you saying that. Hopefully it is my prayer that we're able to tap into something today that will be very fruitful for you going forward. But not just you, also me, believe it or not, because this is a big opportunity for me to also learn. A lot of times when you're sharing something with someone, as we are sharing something today, there's an opportunity to give, but there's also an opportunity to receive. There's a wisdom that says that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And that is a phenomenon that I think occurs all across the board in every facet of your life.
The day has finally come for the winner of the 2014 Train with KaiGreene contest, StevenWhang, to meet Kai here at Bev Francis Gym in Syosset for their workout. Steven has given Kai the choice of whatever body part he wants to train. Today he has chosen back and shoulders, but first there is always the warm-up for both mind and body.
You know, when you're open, or when you allow yourself to be open and available, there are lessons that everything can be turned into for your own advancement, you know, if you're willing to be ready and to take it in. So as we begin this thing, I'm thinking to myself, quietly, I am ready. You know, I am ready for the lesson.
No, I completely agree with everything you said, because like it's not like when you started bodybuilding you're like, oh, I'm gonna inspire these people doing this and that. You know, when you started, you just did what you had to do, and then what you did just manifested itself and, you know, allowed that to inspire others. And that's how actually I got into bodybuilding. I was very anorexic when I was younger, and then I realized that if I don't change what I have to do, I'm going to end up killing myself. In middle school, I was a very shy kid, so I was always concerned what other people thought of me. Throughout the years, I started to gain a little weight through all the fast food and this and that, and then people started to make fun of, like, you know, started to jolly with my weight a bit, but I kind of took it to heart. That's when I realized, you know, I want to make a difference, and when I did, but it was in such a negative way, I started cutting out all food. I would eat just enough, like just like a couple of bites so that I could still survive, and I would constantly drop in weight. To me, I thought like I was still overweight when I looked deathly skinny. When I was 13, I was probably like 75 pounds, and I thought that was still overweight. I realized that when I really found my faith in God, there was that question that I once heard, you know, does Jesus have sin? And a lot of people say, no, he doesn't, you know, it's because he's perfect, this and that. But then I heard, yes, he does, because he has my sins. And to me, that was so powerful that, you know, I really learned that I was perfect inside because of him. And that's when I learned to really appreciate the beauty and, you know, and really learn to respect myself after that. And that's what really helped change my life around. I felt like bodybuilding was a way for me to connect my mind and my body. But then the missionary work, it allowed me to connect to my spirit more in a way, like I guess doing God's work. We can shake our fists at God and say, why, how can you do this? You know, how can you bring so much pain in this world, so much poverty? But, you know, he said, I created you. You're the reason why you're here. You can make the difference. And when I realized that, I applied then. So I wanted to do more of his work to give back.
Well said, Mr. Wang. That's what's up. You are a walking tutorial, testimonial. Basically, we're going to do like 7 abdominal exercises. I do them like clockwork. Okay, very simply, what I do is I take my 2 fingers, I create a place to rest. I want to go from the 5th intercostal cartilage down the pelvic symphysis, and I just want to create the absence of distance. I'm going to stretch and I'm going to contract. That contraction is my attempt to create an absence of distance between my pelvis and my trunk. Turn to the side, pelvis flat. These fingers I'm going to use as extrasensory. I'm going to squeeze. I'm going to stretch by creating space between my pelvis and my pelvis and my ribs, and I'm going to contract, shortening that distance. I'm going to stretch it again and contract. This would be a contraction. I want to feel these. Go ahead, piano wire. There we go. Good news. Let's get it. We talked about the lower abdominal. We're going to make a diamond with our hands. That hollowed out area is where we're going to put our coccyx bone. Point those feet straight up and up. But now what we're going to do though, at the top of this movement, you contract your rectus abdominis. This way, what we're trying to do is contract it all from the bottom to the top. Don't kick your feet. 11, 12, use your abdominal. Left elbow, right knee. And what's gonna happen is I'm gonna take this elbow, I'm gonna use it to stretch my body across. Now I'm imagining an energy line reaching from my right toe all the way out to the left, out of my elbow. And I'm gonna squeeze. 1, yeah, that's perfect. 2, 3. Eighteen, 19, 20. I don't even hear you breathing, Mr. Wang. You gotta breathe.
I always thought like bodybuilding was like, oh, they just take steroids. You know, I discredited them for like their hard work. But what people don't see is like, you see the people on the stage or like the success that everyone has, but you don't know the journey that they all go through. And I feel like that's what everyone should look for, is the journey. And then in 2009, that's when I saw KaiGreene competing in the Arnold Classic, and I was like, wow, who's that? You know, and then I looked up KaiGreene, I looked up his life. I saw, you know, the day in the life of KaiGreene. I looked at that, and then I realized, wow, I want to give this a shot. I want to try bodybuilding.
Normally I do pull-ups and dips. Yep. I'm gonna vary that a little bit because I want to get into 3 specific applications of this pull down. If you notice, I'm not allowed to just allow myself to be pulled all the way up for a bigger stretch. So what I'm going to do is, because I already sense that, right, I'm going to lean back a little bit more and try to allow for my scapula to get the release this way, as opposed to being able to come all the way up. Does that make sense to you? I'm explaining that to you because I think it's important to you. But with this reverse grip, I'm going to pull. I don't want to use my biceps though. I'm going to pull down to my chest, and I'm going to try to use my rear delts, my rear delts, my traps, and my lats to accomplish that. See what happens when I got here? I felt the presence of the end of that track, so I leaned back to allow
maximum stretch.
There you go. Maximum stretch gives me maximum contraction. Why don't you give it a shot? 18, 19, 20. All right, Mr. Whang. We got to do one more rep. He wanted to just show out right now. That's good news. Hold on to that energy there, because we're going to need some of that for where we about to go. All right, same rules apply. 2, 3, 4, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. You up. 4, 5, let's go. 6, can you get here? 7, can you get here? 8, good. 9, good. 10, good. Your back is alive. 12, come on. 13, good. 18, right there is good. Leave it there. Bang. All right. So, remember we talked about 20, 15, 12. 20, 15, 12. When you started to see that right there, to the left of the 15, we move on. So the first one is 20, next one is 15, last one is 12. Believe it or not, the weight will come. More importantly, you need to worry about using the machine. Using the machine. All right, you know what though? This is bothering me. That does look a little shorter.
When we were doing the close grip pull downs, I saw Kai notice that the cable was where you put the clip on was a lot longer than one side compared to the other. We wouldn't have been able to get the maximum stretch because when we did, the weight would have already been touching. So that's why we went on our knees, so we get more of a longer range motion. And when I got back home, I actually started to do that.
Good. 5. Okay, hold on. Put it up there. Put it back up. I want you to explore the beauty of this movement. There's things that are going to come alive for you. All right, so stretch and squeeze. 1, stretch and squeeze. 2, all of this, let's go. 3, make it alive, bring it alive. 4, let's go. 5, all of this, let's go. 6, keep pulling. 7, keep pulling, let's go. 8, okay, let it go, that's it. Okay, all right, no problem. Sometimes we get excited. Okay, but 20, 15, 20, 15, 12. And again, as I drop the reps a little bit, I'm increasing the weight a little bit. But the truth is, you still want to be able to almost, like you want to be able to close your eyes, go into your body, and take notice of your muscles and contract them. So even at the top of the movement, you want to be asking yourself, what can I feel there? Can I feel this? Can I feel that? Full stretch on my lats, but am I open? That movement of your scapula, these two triangular bones that sit on the sides of your spine, the movement of those things, of these bones, talk about the move. They tell you what's going on. They're telling you that your lats are activated. Yep. They're telling you that your traps are activated. They're telling you if your rear delts are activated. Believe it or not, a lot of times if you're doing these movements that you call back movements, but those two triangular bones are not moving, then that means that your arms are compensating for it. Yeah, that means that. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. I mean, that's why I like what you're talking about, the stretch. I usually like to let the gravity work with it, so it pulls me up and then pull down.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect, and you did that perfectly. So I know you understand that concept. Okay, we're gonna move on from here. Pull it to the up. Now, from having done those two first, believe it or not, your whole back should be alive and warm. Sometimes you hear people talk about leaning back or not. Really importantly, it's important to lean back, but not just to lean back to try to pull the weight. Yep. But what's happening is there's longitudinal muscles that align your spine along from your coccyx all the way up. And what they do is, in order to contract, in order to bend your back, they contract. So there's a contraction occurring. When I do that, automatically, I'm taking inventory and bringing online all of these muscles that I want to contract here. So now we're going to pull this and we're going to bury this into our chest. As a younger bodybuilder, I used to pride myself on being very strong. Yeah. As I've as I've matured, I end up learning, wow, there is such truth to connective tissue and wear and tear and damage long term. Some of the things you are able to get away with as a result of just being a younger organism, you know, with newer organs and newer tissue that has not yet been subjected to, you know, the wear and tear for an extended period of time. You know, being a 16-year-old bodybuilder versus being a 30-year-old bodybuilder, there's significant difference, you know, when we talk about a lot of different functions, you know, but connective tissue being one, and also your heart, and just your ability to recover in between sets. All right. Rear delts, rear delts. 2, 3, 4, 5, rear delts, 6, rear delts, 7, rear delts, 8, rear delts, 9, rear delts, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Ooh. 1, good. 2, 3, flex this. 4, flex here. 5, flex here. 6.
The wide group rows kind of surprised me because I always thought that was just a back movement. And then, but he was telling me to focus on my rear delts. And when he started touching it, like how, you know, he's like, focus right here on my rear delt. And then when I did, I started to feel a bigger burn in my rear delt. And I never noticed that before. I always thought it was just a back movement.
Believe it or not, there's certain body types that no matter what they do, if you have shorter arms, you'll be able to automatically, almost immediately, without a whole lot of thought, be able to isolate your rear delts and your traps. What I've learned earlier in my training is that I have longer arms. So a good telltale sign of the manipulation of the right mechanics to address my needs are to be led by the contractions that I'm able to make in my rear delts with specific movements. So like a movement like this, my hands are wide, my elbows are out and up. If I'm able to contract my rear delts indirectly, because the intermediary between each delt is my middle trap, it's working. It's gonna work. If I'm able to connect with my rear delts indirectly, that means my scapula is moving, which means that my lats are also moving. Just dealing with my own morphology and just kind of understanding that a little bit through trial and error in my training. So I noticed, dude, you have pretty long arms. And as I see you doing this movement, I can see and feel that you are not only connecting with it, but I can see your muscles, I can see them working. I can touch them and feel them working. So I understand that you understand what we're doing here.
Yeah, I can definitely feel it. Because like when I do these, I usually view it as just back, but the way you kind of tweaked it a lot, like what I should focus on, I actually feel it in my rear delts a lot more than I expected. Even just from pull downs, like I never expected like my shoulders to burn that much.
If you do your pull down, if you pull that bar to your chest, I learned that from George Farrell 2 years ago. You know, a lot of times in the past, I used to pull and stop here and think, oh, well, you know, that's enough. But, you know, by fighting for that extra 4 inches or 6 inches, it makes a difference in the detail in your trap. Boom, guess who stepped in the room? Looking for the shower now. Need to kill the bee on the sea. All right. Okay, we're gonna go through a series of movements. Again, this is shoulders. A lot of times people think, you know, back is back and chest is chest, but believe it or not, shoulders and back, technically, you know, your traps and rear delts are the back of your shoulders. Thank you. Thank you. The back of your shoulders is it's actually the top of your back. So, and for a long time, I had to try to improve my back. Well, not really my back, but definitely my shoulders. So, I had to learn how to put these movements in the appropriate sequence that helped to improve my posing from the rear, as well as speak a little bit more positively to the judges in the way of the development and its distribution through my back. So, all right, first movement, bang, bang, bang. See that? Not this. This is different. This is lats. This is rear delts and traps. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 5. This is where we are. 6, 7. This is where we are. 8, 9, 10, 11. Good. 12. Let's go. Now you're about to look really strong. Yeah. Okay. Same rules apply. Let's get it. Bang. Traps. Red delts. 2, 3, 4. One, use your delts, traps. Here we go. 2, let's go. 3, let's go. 4, that's good. Nine, 10, come on. 11, 12, excellent. Question. Why would someone do an upright row while still talking about addressing their back?
I'm not sure.
No. Because this speaks to your traps. Your trap, and believe it or not, the longitudinal muscles of your back. So technically, like when you walk through feeling your rear or bicep shot, I could point out a bunch of little specific minutia in the continuum of my personal experience on stage that will support why I feel so strongly about this. But, you know, not everybody is as concerned about the specific about my career as I guess I would be, which would be the thing that I would use to support why I'm doing this. But I share this with you because if you are on the road to improving, you know, your shots from the rear as an up-and-coming bodybuilder and as a person that's concerned with the overall ability to develop your physique the way you want to, this is one of those things that I throw at you that will, I hope, be of some good fruit.
That helps a lot because every movement that I do, I try to focus on and envision what I'm going to present on stage. Like when I'm doing the double bicep curls on the cables, I kind of plant my foot back as if I'm doing a back double rear bicep, and then I contract each time like that, and I imagine the pose that I'm doing. Sometimes I close my eyes, like you said, you know, really visioning what I'm going to present on stage and what exactly I'm going to do.
Very important. It's good that you're doing that. These are things that sometimes that someone may not be able to tell you that you actually develop on your own, but when you do it, you put yourself along the lines of the right thinking that has helped others that have aspired to do what you're trying to do, make that same connection and do those same things. You'll find that you'll have that in common with someone else that was aspiring to learn how to connect and make their rear bicep more efficient. The same thing that you just described is the same thing that I've heard a lot of other champions that I looked up to do and make connections in their effort to make connections with other exercises, just as we are right here and now.
I think I'll be better with the 10s, yeah.
Okay. 2 elbows high.
As we get deeper into the workout, Steven smartly reduces the weight on several exercises in order to maintain form. He's learned from watching previous Train with Kai videos in which some of the winners were psychologically affected by the fact that the workout was being taped.
I didn't care about the camera. I wanted to learn so that, you know, I can apply it to my benefit and, you know, what I can bring on stage. You know, it's like, not just for that one day, like how much I can impress others, you know, like, I think that's where a lot of people make the mistakes is ego lifting.
Secret Sauce is the world's first post-workout formula to contain bovine serum albumin, also known as BSA. BSA is a unique, fast-absorbing bioactive protein derived from bovine blood plasma.
What is unique about this formulation is that it's specifically designed to enhance post-workout skeletal muscle growth and repair.
Well, within just a few weeks, I started to experience drastic differences in my physique. My muscles became bigger, fuller. My recovery time was significantly reduced. The secret is out. To get the full reward of my hard work in the gym, I use Muscle Med's secret sauce after every workout.
Traps, rear delts. Shrug, up, down to the bottom.
Kai showed me how to do a different way to do shrugs, which was the reverse grip. It was behind the back, and that was a bit different for me. I've never really done those before. In a way, in the beginning, it was a bit uncomfortable.
Okay, I see you feeling your way through this. By the time you got to rep 7, looked like you really started finding your way with your, making a connection with your rear delts. Let me show you this from the rear. This is, at the bottom of this thing, I'm thinking about my traps. So it's a shrug here. From here to get it over my butt, I contract my rear delts and my lats. And then I hold it there for a second. The contraction is in my lats and my rear delts as well as my trap. Stretch it out, return to the center. I'm really trying to pull down on my trap. Up to the top. Now, again, this is shrug, rear delts, down to the bottom. 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 1, 2, 3, 4. Trap, rear delt, down to the bottom. Trap, rear delt, down to the bottom. 11, 12, 13, 20. So now, remember how we started the last one? Well, we pick up right from there. And a shrug. 1, pull the trap. 2, to the floor. 6, 7, 8, 4. Use, look the same way you did when you were doing the other one. 5. That looks pretty. You know, your development overall seems to be very, very balanced. You know, I would encourage you to continue to do what you're doing. One more set. They used to do a program on ESPN, Steve Stone and Tom Terwilliger. They used to do, I believe, Muscle Sport USA. And, you know, wherever I was in the country, you know, in my travels coming up as a teenage bodybuilder, you know, you could turn on Muscle Sport USA, whenever it was that ESPN was showing it, and you get a chance to, you know, hear them do a roundup and a wrap-up of all the bodybuilding stuff that was going on all over the country. Before winning my way to the U.S. team, to go to the World Championships, I competed in the Team Universe, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but a lot of times to try to win my way on the team to go to the World Championships. Back then, that's the road you had to take if you were going to turn pro. I didn't win the Team Universe this year, and I had this videotape of the roundup, and I was listening to the roundup of the last show that I had done, the last time I did the Team Universe. He had said, Steve Stone had said, wow, you know, look at KaiGreene, blah, 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 you know, great potential, definitely a pro one day when he gets it all together. I froze that, I burned it into my mind, and every day when I was getting ready some years later to go back to the Team Universe to win my way on the US team, finally to go to the World Championships, I played that tape every day and heard him say every day, definitely a pro one day once he gets it all together. Definitely a pro one day once he gets it all together. Definitely a pro one day once he gets it all together. I played it over and over and over again. And it became the thing that I used to help me believe, reinforce my belief in the thought that everything that I was doing at that time in my life was to produce that desired end result. But just to touch on what we spoke about when we were on the step mill earlier, and you talked about having a belief in something. Everybody believes in something, and you can choose to believe in something that will help push you closer to your goal, or you can believe in something that helps to push you back. You know, your belief in what you're doing, your belief in the thought that what you're doing is going to add to your ability to be successful. If there were no belief that this is going to help me or help you advance towards your goals that relate to physical fitness or whatever, then what's the point in doing a deadlift? What's the point in doing these tricks? What's the point in learning how to master these things and call them as tools to help your advancement if you don't believe that they're going to be the resource? Yep. Five, stay here. 6, elbows high. 7, elbows high. 8, yes, there you go. 9, come on. 10, let's go. 11, 12. All right, throw it away. Now see, just where you are with that now, see how that started to connect a little better at that last? That's where I would drop the weight, and I would concentrate on trying to do 15 like that, like that. Because that, sometimes we said, okay, well, I'm only supposed to do 3 sets of this predisposed idea, this three sets of 12. And we get there and you realize,
yeah, that's when I realized I had to drop the weight as well, and then, so I could bring my elbow. Yeah.
Right, so that means if we already did, but say we're thinking that's the end of my training session, I already got here. But now I just find out that at the end of this is when I finally start to do it correctly.
Yep.
You know, there's another time where I would have stopped here and said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do 4 sets just like that, and give whatever I've done up until this point to the church. Committed to your own improvement, that would be the way to go.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Maybe not 4 sets, but maybe just, you know, another 2 like that. But at any rate, this is something I'm just trying to share with you, because sometimes you can come into the gym with a particular plan, and then you get to this place and say, I just got it. Yep. Now, I'm able to tweak this movement when I'm doing it naturally in order to kind of feel my way into what I want to feel. When I see you doing this, I see you using a lot of tricep, and I don't know how you feel. From looking at it, the way you're doing it, I would imagine, okay, well, his triceps are working a lot more, then I would want my triceps to work when doing it. How do you feel when you're doing this?
I feel the burn in the rear delt, but yeah, I do feel like a little bit of triceps being engaged. I guess, yeah, it's because I'm like kind of pushing forward. So I mean, I was also like trying to miss the mic.
Can you feel it at all in your front delt and your lateral head of your delt at all?
Yeah, I feel it more in the rear and a little bit up here than front.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it's because we engaged that more earlier, so it's a bit like warmed up, but. Yeah, I feel it more in my front delt. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
That looks more like tricep to me. I would move it up a little bit more personally. I would not think about going heavier until I was able to work this out. I think in order to do this more efficiently, to hit this, your front and the lateral head of your delt, I think you need to move the bench up just a little bit.
I think it's just I just have to take my hat off when I do it.
1, 2, 3.
I guess I wasn't hitting the target area because I kept pushing the bench back more because, yeah, it kept hitting the brim of my hat. So when I took it out, took off my hat, then I was able to get closer to the bench and then it started to target the area more.
So now, taking from what we said when we were over there, I would do another 3 or 4 sets in this groove, the way we just, so it's almost taken us a little bit of trial and error to kind of tweak this thing correctly, understand our own morphology a little bit, and work around it in order to get the right mechanics necessary to do what we're trying to do, which was to stimulate the shoulder, the lateral head, and the front head of your delt. So now, from this place, it took us all that work to get to this place. Now from this place, I would do 3 or 4 sets. Does that make sense? This would be a standard approach to training shoulders for me, with a warm-up, abs, that floor routine. Believe it or not, it may seem very simple, but that's been very, very helpful in helping to take me from practicing my game and my craft as a fledgling teenage bodybuilder up through the ranks as a national level athlete and then on to the pro ranks. Strong fundamentals are what's been very, very helpful in being able to take my game from the Pee-wee leagues to the major leagues. So it's my belief that strong fundamentals can take you a very, very far and long way. So from there we went into those warm-ups for our upper body, also our shoulders, believe it or not. A lot of times people discredit, you know, just how important that is. A lot of that warm-up really helps me to address that. We went from there into addressing our shoulder training from the back. So traps, rear delts, you know, rhomboids around to the front. As you see, we just finished here with shoulder presses.
Everything that we did is like stuff that I've been doing this whole time. Like, it wasn't really much of a surprise, but little certain tweaks that he made the biggest difference, in which I can start to apply even more in my workouts. I guess also listening to what he's been talking about most of my life, and really applying that and the philosophy of like everything, I guess in that way, that aspect, we started to connect. So in a way, like, I'm not saying his workout, you know, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, because like I was already applying everything that he's been doing. It's a very humbling experience to meet him, because like what you see him on camera is exactly the way he is. Like, he doesn't sugarcoat anything, where, you know, a lot of people get very disappointed when they meet their like favorite celebrity or something and then they turn out to be a real jerk. But Kai wasn't like that. He really takes the time to get to know the person. Don't be intimidated by, you know, like his big muscles, because, you know, he's just an overall very nice guy, you know, like very knowledgeable, you know, someone you can really learn from. And because of his philosophies, that's what helped change my route in terms of bodybuilding. That's what made me want to become a bodybuilder. Through my path in bodybuilding, I found this quote where, you know, it says, "We're not human beings trying to live a spiritual life, but we're spiritual beings trying to live a human life." So that made me realize that there has to be something more than this. And, you know, whether you choose to believe that or not, that's up to you, but I believe that there's something else and something greater. And our time on earth is our experience and our journey for what's in the next life. You know, a lot of people can choose not to believe like the Bible and stuff like that, but what I like to look at it is an acronym for basic instructions before leaving Earth. So that's why that's what I applied, and you know, it really changed my life.